This is the state of FlatPak support in Fyne, or Fyne and the future of app distribution on Linux. But let's start with, who am I? So my name is Jacob Alzén, and I'm currently studying my third year of computer science and engineering at Linköping University in Sweden. I'm one of the core developers of Fyne, and for the most part I'm maintaining our CI infrastructure and then doing some smaller stuff all over the place. And in my spare time I am a Linux user, I'm doing some amateur photography, and I'm also a trail runner. And I'm also super stoked to be back at Fyne Conf again for what I realize is the 4th year in a row. Yay. So let's dig into what I have to say. And as I said before, my talk is about FlatPak and why it's the future of app distribution and how we're integrating Fyne into this ecosystem. So why FlatPak? Well, it gives us a single package for distributing to any Linux distribution. You don't have to juggle any RPM files or deb packages. You can just compile your application once and distribute, or twice actually, depending on architectures, and then distribute it to all Linux systems, basically. And one of the best parts about it is that it's 100% free and open source with no vendor lock-in. And that last part is what I like the most, because Ubuntu has this snap package, which they're trying to shove down the throats of everyone, and they don't allow custom repositories, and they just want a core that's kind of closed. So with FlatPak, you can use, well, any existing repository or host your own repository. And on top of this, it also carries some of very modern features. So all of your applications will run in a consistent environment based in a container. So even though your application may be running on Debian or Fishos, or Fedora or anything, it will always have the same libraries in the bottom. And on top of this, it's also sandboxed. So your application, if it doesn't need network access, it won't have network access. If it doesn't need file access, well, as a security measure, it won't even have the possibility to touch the file system, which varies a bit from application to application, which we'll talk more about. But on top of this, the sandbox system also gives us what we've had on mobile for years. We can turn on and off notifications on per application basis and have a lot more control over what our applications can do. But then if we have a FlatPak, how do we distribute it? And the de facto standard for distribution has become FlatHub. So FlatHub is also entirely open source and quite easy to get started with. And when they recently pushed some new statistics, they have over 2,000 applications available, 3 of which are Fyne based, but more on that later. And a lot of them are both verified and maintained by the applications developers themselves. So for example, the Firefox application is maintained by Mozilla. My application is verified by me, so anyone installing it will know that they're not getting any malware or bad practices. With that, many maintainers maintain their own applications. They have over 1,500 collaborators, averaging around 700,000 downloads a day, and supports both x86 and ARM distribution or architectures. They're also thinking about future plans for allowing potentially paying or donating to applications. But then, how has support in Fyne improved. I had a talk about this 2021, I think, and since then a few things have happened. For example, the settings file that Fyne uses to save the preferences where we talked earlier, that Andrew talked earlier about in the workshop, it no longer has to be passed through the sandbox for it to work. Each application have their own set of permissions and preferences, so you can change the theme, for example, independently for each application. I also managed to get notifications to work as long as you set the right permission bits. That needs to be improved, but more on that later. And Andrew also kindly added support for FlatHub as a provider in the apps.fyne.io page, and a fancy little download on FlatHub button, which I'm very happy about. And lastly, for this part, we have the FlatPak demo, which I've been maintaining, which provides everything you need to get started if you want to publish your application on, well, FlatPak or on FlatHub or as a FlatPak. But then, which problems do we see in Fyne that we need to address? So, one large part of this is we have no support for free desktop portals, and this allows the application to make runtime permission requests instead of hard coding permissions when you compile the application. So basically you can say, I want to open a file, and then instead of giving the whole file system as an access for the application, the desktop environment opens a file picker. We pick the file, and then the desktop environment just temporarily gives access to that single file that we picked. And we need to work on that. The same goes for notifications and so on. And we also need to support Wayland better, because we're currently getting this use this legacy windowing system. I should probably use the pointer thing. And that's not very nice, because that's my application, and as a user, I personally would be a bit scared when it says that it is unsafe, which I also think is a bit too harsh to call it unsafe. But oh well, we have more to work on, and the future will look brighter. So, which Fyne applications can you download right now? Well, as I said before, we have 3 applications available. Rimport, my application, it has seen 4,200 downloads in about 17 months, but perhaps even more interesting is Supersonic, another core developer of Fyne, who's managed to get 2,100 downloads in about 7 months. And also Patrice, which recently got his scoreboard application up. And I think we should promote that one as well, because it's also a really good application. And that was what I had to say. So thank you everyone for listening. Let's look forward to a bright future with Fyne on FlatPak. If you want to reach out to me, you can find me as Jackals on Gopher Slack. You can email me at jackals@tutanota.com, or find my GitHub on github.com/jackals.
Hello everyone, my name is Samy Akroun. I'm a hobbyist developer and doctor from Algeria. Today I will show you a work-in-progress application that I call Electronic Medical Records. It's an app that helps manage medical practice, everything that a doctor needs in his office, like patient information, history, appointments, prescriptions, and so on. Okay, let's start with the password. Here's the main window. It's just a big doc tab. In here you can search for a patient. You can see the last patients created, or you can create a new patient. Let's start with this. We enter the last name, the first name, sex, and date of birth. This is the minimal required informations. Patient created. It's in a new tab. This is the patient tab. It's divided in three parts. On the left, you will have the history and the events. In the center, you will edit and modify the selected event. And on the right, there are other interesting informations about the patient. Let's start with a medical consultation. You can create events with this big button. Let's start with a consultation. Here we write anything we want, like physical exam, for example. And here we write a title. It will be the diagnosis. Let's say asthma exacerbation. Saving is automatic, or you can click here in order to save. Here is the title. After the consultation, we will make a prescription, a drug prescription. Okay, we will start. It's very simple. You just have to write the medication, the drug, how you take it, 3 times a day, and the duration. This is standard medical prescription. You press enter, the drug is added. We repeat the process for other drugs. Okay, and the last one, just for the example. You will tell me that we write many text, but you will see. Okay, the prescription is completed. You can reorder as you want. You can even use keyboard to reorder with Control plus the arrows, up and down arrow. And of course you can print. Printing is done simply by HTML and CSS. Here's the standard print template with patient name, date of birth, and the prescription. Okay, we write too much. So, what's the solution? Autocomplete, of course. We repeat it. Once you write the first time any drug, the software remembers it. So, it is proposed as autocomplete. Just enter, enter, enter. It is directly added. First character for Solupred, enter, 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 added. Ventolin. As you can see, it's very simple. Let's say also that this prescription is a kind of standard and you use it many times. You can save it as a model with this button. Here's the model. We give it a name, for example, like this. Augmentin plus Solupred, une catégorie, some category, sorry. We save. And next time you will want to prescribe these drugs, you just come in this menu, some category, Augmentin Solupred. Very simple. Same thing can be done for exam requests. I already created a template for chest x-rays. You just create and print. Okay, now let's see documents. Documents can be anything you want. Medical certificates, medical reports, invoices, anything. Each document type can be created by the user, and it has a different printing layout. This is the main importance of documents. I already created some templates, some document types, and you will see the scripting capabilities of document types. Let's see directly. This is arrêt de travail, so work leave certificate. This is completely scripted. You write the duration in days, let's say 10 days from today, and validate. Here is it. You have the content. The 10 days are inserted here, and you can print with customized printing template. As you can see, the title is custom, and there's this text that wasn't in the content. Let's see document types, how they are done. Here is that document type. You can insert variables with cross-dash syntax. Here you insert the doctor's name. Here you insert either set patient for a female patient, or ce patient for a male patient. Here you insert inputs jours. This is a variable called jour from the inputs. And here the starting date. Here's the script. It's simple Lua 5.2. You set a header for the dialog that display. Here you create a number input called jour. This is the duration that we saw. A date, and this is a checkbox. Here's the printing template. It's simple HTML with the same cross-dash syntax. As you can see, this is the date of the entry. For example, this is the patient name, the patient first name, patient date of birth, and here we insert the content of the entry of the certificate with parsed as markdown. And here's the last little line of the certificate. As you can see, it's very powerful. You can do anything you want. Each doctor of each specialty can customize its own templates and own document types. Okay, last thing now, and not least, images. You can add images to patient files and to consultations, like this from File. Let's see my wallpapers. Here there are. Okay, you can add it and you can visualize it. You can even add many ones. Here we are, as you can see. Each consultation can have its own images. Here, this is the images of the patient in globality, and you can transfer them to some consultation. You can do multi-select, export, or delete. That's all what I have to show you. There are many other things that we didn't see, like advanced statistics, financials, user management, and many other things. Thanks for watching.